You guys are live.
Hello, I'm Jeff Davis, and right now I'm with John Powers, who is the Director of Digital Communications for Acara. We work together. On top of doing that, he's also avidly pursuing his PhD, and he's also the director of a mission trip that goes down to the Dominican Republic annually, each year. He's been doing it for 25 years. John, thank you for talking with me today.
Thanks, Jeff.
The first question I wanted to ask you that came to my mind as I was preparing for this is, talk about the value of doing just one thing. I know that you return to the Dominican every year, and I think there's a lot of value in not being scattered and just diving into that one thing.
You know, that's a great question, because more and more people are having the opportunity to go on these short-term trips, whether it's through schools, universities, churches, Rotary clubs, whatever. So a lot of groups are going down for a week, and one thing that's really important to make sure we as Americans are trying to do more good than harm is to not get caught up in what's been referred to as volunteerism, in the sense of voluntourism, so that we're visiting groups and we're building relationships and we're partnering with locals on the ground to help those in need, and not blowing in, blowing out, not the great white American savior complex of let's go, help these people and then I'll go back home to my nice life. So what we decided 25 years ago after our first trip was, we were talking, should we try? We went to the Dominican, the needs were great, we had a wonderful experience, we made some really wonderful friends. Should we go to Haiti next year? Should we go to Nicaragua? Should we go to Mexico? There's obviously plenty of places to go. And it certainly would be interesting from our perspective to see different places. But we decided to go back and say, why don't we focus on this one area, do our best to improve things, to make a difference, and if in our lifetime things are to a point where they don't need us anymore, we can go somewhere else. So we've been doing that for 25 years, and into the city of La Romana and out into the Haitian sugarcane villages that are called bateys. So we've even narrowed it down even more over the last 10 years, I would say, where we've even focused on one or two specific villages, bateys, where we've said we're just going to, this is the poorest of the poor in this batey. We're going to do everything we can to focus every year on that batey, rebuild houses, build church, build a school, help with sustainable food, clean water, all those issues, medical issues, and then we'll move on to a different batey. And that has made a tremendous, amount of difference for those folks, in the sense that they see tangible results. Their lives are improving, but also we're partners, we're friends. They work side by side with us. They tell us, oh, I think we should do it this way instead of that way. I think we should, we really need a school because we want our kids to break this cycle of poverty. So, we're listening, we're friends, we're doing it together as opposed to us just blowing in and out.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense. You're building the relationships, and you're not just checking an item off of a checklist. You're going there and actually caring about these people.
Exactly, and something that's really important to understand are that the folks that we our friends in those sugarcane bateys are, despite the lack of opportunities that I've had and you've had and we've all had here in the States, they're really smart. They're extraordinarily hardworking. They figure things out that we don't have to figure out, like how we're going to eat every day. What do we do at night when there's no electricity and there's no lights? And how do we cook our food? How do we keep our house from falling over when it's windy? All those sorts of things. I mean, and so we've learned as much from them as they have from us. And they're strong, faithful, optimistic, hardworking, really talented people. And so that's been a really important part of our work.
That's excellent. That's very excellent. And speaking of which, I'm interested to know, when you're seeing these people over the years and you see the growth that happens and you're getting to know everyone, talk a little bit about the perspective that you see. I know we've joked before about, as Americans, sometimes we'll get frustrated if the Netflix circle is spinning, and I know that's happened before, and you realize, compared to some of the things that are going on in the world, it is not even close to even touching on what some of these other people have to deal with.
It's a really great point, and I think anyone who's been to to a third world situation and has stopped and met folks who live in, where they're really just trying to survive day to day. Obviously it's humbling to put our own lives into perspective, because we all hate when the Netflix thing doesn't work,
Yes.
or the Wi-Fi goes down, or you're stuck in traffic, or all the things that people in other parts of the world would just be so happy if that was their biggest problem of the day. Unfortunately, a lot of times those feelings of change seem to fade when you get back here and you get back into the day-to-day craziness of our normal lives. But it is always in the back of your mind that, okay, I know, well, maybe I'm not happy because the restaurant ran out of my favorite food, or the grocery store doesn't have what I thought I had on sale. They had on sale. I can eat whenever I want and whatever I want, and that's, most of the world doesn't have that. So.
And speaking of which, to wrap this up, you were talking about the day-to-day. Would you say that a good way for people to give back, either within their community or even to the world, is doing something like this service and giving to others and getting out of themselves into the world? I think even if you're in that day-to-day routine, there are still ways to give back, and you're going to feel good about yourself while helping other people.
Yeah, I mean, I really recommend, whether it's going overseas and being part of an effort to help someone less fortunate, or doing something local here, locally or in the States, doing something personally and in a tangible way makes all the difference. Obviously, someone has to. It's important that there are people, generous people, who write checks and send money, which is wonderful, because nothing happens without that. But being able to see it yourself makes all the difference. In our first trip, we had 11 people who went to the Dominican, and there were people. There was nothing going on there, and people were hungry, and they had lack of housing and clean water and medical assistance and all that sort of stuff. And so we had asked our host, who was the pastor who was running this whole new project, why don't we just we could have sent, we all paid $1,000 each back in 1990 to go. We could have sent them $11,000, which would have fed all sorts of people and provided some health care for folks who need it and all that sort of stuff. And he said, I would rather you came down and you saw it with your own eyes, and you took it all in personally, and you met people, because when you go back, you're going to tell people, and you're going to encourage other people to come down and help. And he was a very wise man, because 25 years later, there now are over 2,000 Americans who go to this one specific mission in La Romana. Our group, will take 125, where we had 11 the first year. So he knew that if it's better to invest in getting people down there to be part of it and partner than to just send money.
Yes, exactly. Seeing it in reality. Absolutely. On the field, it means a lot.
Absolutely, as you will this summer, right?
Yes, I will be going to the Dominican Republic in June with John Powers.
Absolutely.
So thank you for watching the video. Today I interviewed John Powers, the director of the annual mission trip to the Dominican Republic. We appreciate your time, and if you like the video, please hit like below. Have a great day.